Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I'm Chris.
And we're just two nerds trying to find our way in the universe. And today we're talking about something kind of weird and nebulous that I didn't understand when they announced it. And after some news has come out about it, I still don't understand it, really.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about it. If you might remember back in 2019 at New York Comic Con, Lucasfilm announced Project Luminous.
Yes.
And like, the first thing everyone was like, what the fuck's Project Luminous? And they're like, don't worry about it.
It was really mysterious because like they didn't tell us anything about it. All they said was there's these like this list of really good writers that are involved in it somehow. And that's all the information we got.
Yeah, so we're like, books? They're going to be books? And they're like, we're not telling you, but whatever it is, it will happen in 2020.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah. So we have a little bit of news on what it actually is and what it's like shaping up to be. And it sounds really, really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, before we get into this, though, you should like this video and leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. We love comments as long as they're in good fun and fun to read. The boring ones I delete. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. This is kind of a cool community we've been building the last couple of months. We'd like to talk to you about Star Wars stuff. So yeah, interact with us there. But back to Project Luminous. So it turns out it's not just a novel thing, and it's not just a comic book thing. So people were like, well, are there video games too? And they're like, no. So it turns out it's a giant multimedia event that will span movies, games, comics, and books.
My thoughts are immediately going to Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, I know. And we've talked about this. So we talked about this a long time ago. In fact, I don't think we've even...
I don't think that ever got released.
We should, because it would be cool. And then a YouTube channel that I follow that I love talked about it just recently too. And that is what it felt like to me too. So Shadows of the Empire, why don't you give us like a 2-second rundown.
So in the mid 90s, I think it was, Lucasfilm was trying to gauge reception for the special edition films / trying to make money because that's what you do.
Well, didn't it have something to do with the prequel, like the new movie?
Oh, that's right. It was after the special editions, but they were like trying to gauge reception for the prequels.
They're like, are people going to like Jar Jar?
Yeah. So basically they made all the merchandise of a Star Wars movie without actually making a Star Wars movie. The main story was in the novel Shadows of the Empire, and there was a comic book adaptation, there was a video game, there was a soundtrack, not by John Williams, tragically, but
it's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. And all these like toys and posters and just all the stuff you'd expect out of a Star Wars movie. There's just no movie.
Yeah. This sounds like that, but with a movie too. So I think they're kind of going all in on it. So
this is very intriguing.
Right. So we know now, at least the best guess, which looks likely, is that there will be a film. Of course, we know that there are going to be lots of written things because they kind of they had that list of authors, so there'd be comic books and stuff. So the new film, as it was recently teased, is going to take place in the High Republic era of Star Wars.
When is this?
It'll be about 300 or 400 years before the events of the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
And this is pretty interesting. Supposedly, it will follow a group of superhero-like Jedi on an adventure in the unknown regions. So
that suggests to me they're trying to get a little Marvel-esque with this.
Yeah, the superhero-like Jedi thing had me a little bit confused too. You're probably right. Like maybe they're... See, that's the thing though, is they already tried to make that happen, right?
A little bit.
They're like, well, we'll just do a bunch of spin-off movies and they'll all tie together into something. And one thing for sure I think is that they're moving away from the trilogy thing. I think that this is going to be one movie. They're going to be focusing on it like being one movie.
Well, part of the issue with a trilogy is that it's a big investment, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of writing and
planning,
production. And because like you're committing yourself to a story that's going to be told over like 6 to 9 hours of film, whereas with just one movie or one story, it's much easier to get something containable and something that you can work with more easily.
Yeah, and it will be easier to leave it open to more stories to follow, but not necessarily planning that it will produce 3 films and that the story has to be rationed down a certain way. Here's an interesting thought about that timeline, though, is that Yoda is still alive, and in fact is like in his young adult phase.
This would be the youngest we've ever seen of Yoda.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if Yoda will be a part of it. If he's like a part of the superhero Jedi.
He might already be on the council and doing more important galaxy scale things already.
What if this is the thing that leads to him being put on the council?
Ooh, that would be neat.
Like some big epic thing happening. He saves the day or whatever, or makes a discovery or something. They also tease a little bit. This is unconfirmed by Disney, but comes from the source that is talking about this. I just want to make sure that we understand that this part is not confirmed by Disney. There are whispers of Darth Bane and the Rule of Two being involved somehow, which I think is really neat. And so the first thing, if you followed the expanded universe past the films, you know that Darth Bane, that whole thing happened thousands of years.
I think exactly 1,000 years ago, because like he was involved in the Battle of Ruusan, which was 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, and he was like dead and gone shortly thereafter.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder if they're kind of tinkering with the timeline a little bit to make it not so like crazy expansive, like time-wise, which makes sense to me because in the Star Wars universe, the problem that I always had with it, like playing the older game, or not the older games, but
the Old Republic,
right?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Technology has not changed very much in Star Wars. They still have ships that can travel past the speed of light. They have lightsabers. It's like the clothing style is a little bit different, and the astromech droid looks a little less sleek.
Yeah,
they're a little bit blocky. So I wonder maybe if shortening the timeline a little bit makes the progression of technology seem a little bit, I guess, more sensible, which I like as well. And I like the fact if they're going to do it this way, if they find a way to put it in a period of time where Yoda is kind of involved too, because people would see that movie if they knew Yoda was going to be in it.
Yoda is what, your second or third favorite Jedi? Because obviously Luke is number one.
Yeah,
Mace Windu is up there too.
I know, I'm like, well, is Mace Windu second or is Yoda second? I'm not really sure.
So okay,
Qui-Gon Jinn would be after them though, for sure.
Okay, yeah. So as a counterpoint to your technology thing, what if the Star Wars universe is so advanced that they've reached the point where they just can't make any more advancements?
We've read the whole internet. There's nothing else. Yeah.
we have blasters. They're as good as they're ever gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. And actually, that brings up a whole different discussion too on if they ever plan on making the Yuuzhan Vong a part of Star Wars. Ooh. And the fact that their technology is different. Like it's like organic technology and stuff.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, this is a whole rabbit hole that has nothing to do with this, but it would be really cool. So another thing that's a part of Project Luminous is a new video game. And this is kind of the big surprise. I think people assumed that there was going to be a follow-up to Jedi Fallen Order because it did so well.
Yeah.
I don't think we expected one to happen so soon. And we're not exactly sure if it's a follow-up to Jedi Fallen Order. By the way, slight tangent, since we're talking about Jedi Fallen Order, did you know that Lucasfilm didn't want the game to be about Jedi and they didn't want to have lightsabers in it?
Really? That seems kind of stupid of them. Because, I mean, that's what sells Star Wars. It's the lightsabers and the psychic ninja space paladins.
Yeah, and we've had a bit of a dry spell of that in Star Wars lately. Like we had a Darth Maul show up in Solo at the last 2 minutes of the film. Rogue One had close to a Jedi, but it wasn't exactly Jedi.
I mean, it had a phenomenal monster sequence for Darth Vader, where he was just kind of slashing his way through the rebels.
Generally, though, they've been kind of shying away from the whole lightsaber Jedi thing, unless it was a part of the trilogy proper that they've been, that they've now wrapped up.
Makes me wonder if they're trying to go in a direction like if they did that specifically to make the lightsabers seem a little bit more special, because like one of the, I guess you would call it a flaw of the old expanded universe, was that like in the old Republic era, Jedi were everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't go 2 feet without tripping over one. And in like,
Or would they trip over you?
who knows? But in once Luke got his Jedi Academy up and going, there were again Jedi just everywhere. There were just all over the place.
Yeah, they grew like they bred like rabbits, kind of like the Jedi did. Yeah.
So maybe Lucas's new direction is that these Jedi need to be more rare, so that they're more special, so that when one does show up, you're like, oh, holy shit, this is serious.
Yeah.
Like there's a Jedi here.
Yeah, I think, and even to play off that a little bit, they seem to have to accomplish that in Jedi Fallen Order. That,
to an
like,
extent.
Yeah. I mean, they're like you have the Inquisitors who aren't really Jedi, but they like that character was kind of special. He wasn't like Star Killer special where he could like defeat the Emperor and all that other shit. Like so, like they kind of toned it back a little bit. He wasn't like some crazy thing. Maybe that's what they were trying to avoid. They're like, we don't want any more Star Killers. Like we need our established heroes like Luke and Rey to be the big guns, and everyone else to be underneath that. So this apparently is coming by 2021.
Okay,
which is soon, and
I mean
so,
it's like 11 months.
Yeah, there's no word on who's going to develop it, but I would have to guess that EA would almost certainly have some kind of hand in it.
I think they have a contract to do like all the Star Wars games from now until infinity.
Yeah, it's the big secret is that EA actually owns Star Wars, and Disney is like a puppet organization for EA.
They just let Disney borrow it every now and then.
So anyway, let us know what you think. If you've heard about Project Luminous, what you think it could possibly be in addition to what we've already talked about. Like I said earlier, like the video, comment, let us know what you think. We love talking to you guys. We also have a podcast. Sorry. We have a podcast on SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can check it out there. It's free, of course, like most other good podcasts. And it's pretty much just me and Chris talking more. It's the shit that we don't cut for YouTube, So anyway, we'll see you on the next video.